Capital Views is sponsored by Northrim Bank, Alaska Oil and Gas Association, ConocoPhillips, and Linden.
Hi, I'm Tim Bradner with Alaska Legislative Digest, and welcome to Capitol Views. And a special welcome today to Ambassador Mike Sfraga, who is also the Chancellor of the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Chancellor, you have had many distinguished positions in your career so far. Most recently, you were President Biden's ambassador to the Arctic, the first one that we've had. You've also were chair of the Arctic Research Commission and a number of other important federal policy positions. Now you're at UAF, which is the nation's premier Arctic research university. And at any rate, maybe you could just talk a bit about UAF and how things are going there, and tell us a bit about research too, and where UAF sits now in the research community.
Sure. Well, Tim, thank you, first of all, for having me on. I appreciate it. The university appreciates it. It's fascinating. This has been a cycle for me. As you know, I have both my baccalaureate and my Ph.D. from UAF, so this is not really a job; it's a mission to be chancellor of this institution, and in very very many ways prepared me for this position here as chancellor. Look, the university is doing really well. UAF and UA as a whole, our enrollments are strong. They're up 5% from last year. Obviously, we are America's Arctic University, so a lot of our programs Arctic related are growing. Arctic research has grown considerably. We do about $250 million in research. That's a powerful engine for our university and for our state, leveraging 100 years in the making. I like to say that this has been a university that's been being built over 100 years, a century, and its time has come. Right? The Arctic is really important to the nation and to the world. Alaska sits at this nexus between a domestic and foreign policy. You can't make good policy, I don't believe, without really good research, really good data, really good information. And this institution sits at a place where we're focused on a mission, and our mission is to serve our state, Alaskans, our communities, but we do that in a really interesting way. The depth and breadth of the institution is considerable, everything from single classes and certificates to PhDs in astrophysics with rocket ranges and a world-class research vessel in the Sikuliak and Poker Flat research. And so it's a wonderful depth and breadth to serve our state, but also the time has come for us to serve our nation, and I would argue serving the world in our areas of expertise, which for the most part is a portfolio of all things Arctic.
Yeah, I've also been told that it's been interesting times in terms of federal funding for research recently. A lot of federal programs in other places have been cut back, but as I understand it, the university has done fairly well in retaining programs amidst intense scrutiny by the federal government. And could you maybe you could just comment on that and what programs have done well in sustaining themselves?
Yeah, great question. It's a nested answer, so I'm going to go through a little bit here. First of all, the continued support we get from the state is crucial. That's foundational for us. And without that, we can't leverage the research engine. The federal landscape was looking very shaky. Massive cuts proposed to the National Science Foundation, our #1 research funder. Those cuts did not happen. Congress pushed back on the administration's proposals to cut significantly research across the country and across the world, actually. But we did quite well. It basically, when taking an aggregate, National Science Foundation, ONR, NOAA, all these federal agencies that we rely on to do our good work for the state and the nation, pretty much in aggregate, it came out flat, which is a victory for us. And our delegation made it very clear to the administration how important research is, how important the work of the Alaska Volcano Observatory is, how absolutely fundamental to the tsunami early warning systems are to our state and to the nation. So not only was it a UA effort to implore the federal government not to make these cuts, our delegation, Senator Murkowski, Sullivan, Representative Begich, did a great job of communicating why Alaska is a valuable asset to the nation and to the work that we do for our state as well. There was also movement to decrease the indirect cost recovery on all of those grants from about whatever the negotiated rate was down to a flat rate of 15%, which would have cut probably 35% of that indirect cost recovery to the university. It would have been devastating to the $250 million I talked about for our research engine. That did not happen. And so we are in a far better place today than we were 5 or 6 months ago.
Uh, Chancellor, also, a lot of folks don't realize that the UAF also has satellite campuses in many different parts of the state. And perhaps you could talk about what some of the communities are and what
Yeah.
happens there, why those are important.
Yeah. Those are really special places because they're like a mirror of the community. Those campuses reflect the community needs. They try to address the community needs. And that's why I talk about this depth and breadth of UAF, because we have campuses in Dillingham, Bethel, Kotzebue, Nome. We have learning centers around the state. Full well, we can't drive to many of our campuses, but they're there to be very, very regional, very, very community driven. And so they really have the opportunity to influence the courses that are being delivered from that campus. But more importantly, and more often than not now, working with my colleagues at UAF, at UAA, and UAS, delivering courses into communities, because we can do that better now than we could before. So it's a really community-based education experience, and we try to do as much as we can there. That's everything from welding to courses in geography and English and, across the board. So really important that those community campuses are reflecting community needs. But as always, there's financial and other pressures on all of our campuses. But really, that's where rubber hits the road, and those are important and an important part of our mission.
And Chancellor, maybe you could speak to there's a community college in Fairbanks, the Tanana Valley College. It focuses more on career and technical.
Yep.
But how does that fit into the overall? It's part of UAF,
Yep.
and it fits in overall. What's the connection with the overall strategy with UAF?
Yeah, so that's, you're using a name I remember so often from years ago, Tanana Valley Community Campus, Tanana Valley Campus. Now it's the College of Community and Technical College. And the community, everything evolves. So the Community Technical College at UAF serves this Fairbanks community in multiple ways: airframe and power plant, welding, mining, petroleum, and all of these kind of workforce development programs, including things like accounting and very basic, what I would call community college missions that are really, really palpable to the community needs. That's a complementary mission to what happens on the Trotietta campus here where I'm sitting, where we have our research engines, we have our academic programs. That community technical college is exactly what its name says. It is a technical college there for the community, but there's a lot of cooperation and overlap between programs that happen in the community and on the Trotietta campus as well, back and forth. So there's no separation, but it's a complementary mission, more of the community college mission versus a 4-year Ph.D. institution as well.
Chancellor, you speaking of name changes, and you've recently done a name change for the parts of the university campus. So it's really part of a broad marketing effort. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, thank you. So when you look at this institution, I mean, it is a gem. Like I said before, $250 million in Arctic research, but a lot of that's Arctic research. When you and I say the words West Ridge, when anybody in Alaska says West Ridge, we kind of know where that is on our campus. It is on the West Ridge part of our campus, and that's for the most part where our research is aggregated, not exclusively. Institute of Northern Engineering is on the eastern side of our campus. We have research going on all over the place. But in aggregate, where the Geophysical Institute is, where the International Arctic Research Center is, where the College of Fisheries and Ocean Sciences, where our major focus of research happens, it's on the West Ridge. And so I designated the West Ridge recently as the UAF Arctic Research
Park.
Arctic Research Park, so
Okay.
that it looks more like research parks at other institutions where you have an aggregation of research, but it's a way to lure industry and federal agencies to an area where you can leverage, kind of like Arctic Legos, you can leverage innovation and business along with research. That's that's what research parks are. I believe that's what we have. I know that's what we have at UAF. We have an Arctic Research Park. We just has never called it that before. And so since we have done that, it's been a very interesting response. Industry, our military, our Homeland Security, other entities, state and federal, interested in sort of what that is and how they can work with a quote unquote research park. We're already doing that. This attempt is to elevate that to serve our state and our nation.
Well, Chancellor, it sounds like things are going very well, and we certainly wish you luck and look forward to talking more and having more conversations. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it very much.